Hi everybody, it's Kim from Fleece and Harmony. Hope you're doing great. It's November 25th, 2022 when you're watching this, and this is episode 109 of our knitting and crochet podcast, recorded here in our yarn shop, which is located in our woolen mill, which is located on our sheep farm in Belfast, PEI. Hope you're all good and you've had a good 2 weeks since the last time we spoke. It's been cold here. It's been really cold. It's, well, not that cold. It's been hovering around 0 degrees Celsius, which is just at freezing. And but the wind, my goodness, the wind. So not anything like a hurricane, but it has been windy almost every single day, to the point where it actually kind of keeps you up at night a bit because it's whistling around the trees and everything. So it's been we have a little bit of lack of sleep. This episode is a little bit of a different one. I'm going to do a really short farm update. I don't have any finished objects, and I'm not even going to show any of my own works in progress. I do have a work in progress, but it's not mine. It's Jennifer Hicks has started her Elda sweater again. And we'll talk a little bit about the Scandiworks Cal, and we'll go to the episode or the segment with Betsy, which is actually quite a long one this time because Betsy had lots of projects and we had lots of things to talk about. But I have been so busy in the shop and the mill getting ready for Arne and Carlos and just trying to clean up things that were just hanging around from the fall. It's been a bit of a wild rush, and I didn't have time to do a list of 5. So we're going to miss the list of 5 this time. I know people look forward to that, but we'll do it again in the next episode after everything is over. Like I said, we're getting ready for the Arne and Carlos thing. They're going to be here next week, so it's going to be pretty busy. I have a little bit of a shop update, mostly books, but I do have something special that came in. And we have a harmony part, which is going to be a quick one. I don't know what it is going to be yet. Ken has something in mind, so we'll find out at the end of that. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the farm update, and it's kind of a funny story. So our furnace is still not in, so November 25th, and we still don't have a furnace. And we have been trying to heat the whole house with our wood stove, which has not been very effective. And the insulation people came though last week in the middle of the week. And luckily we had the use of our friend Joanne's house. She has got the coziest little nest of a house. It was just lovely. But it is a little bit of a drive from where our farm is. It's about like a good 15 minutes, I would say, from our place. So we were coming to work here. We'd have to come, and we were there for 2 nights, and we slept there. And we left the shop, checked on the animals, made sure that Diva had her dinner, her supper, her special supper, and then made sure that the cat was looked after and had her food and everything. And then we would drive over to Joanne's. We slept there. Then we would get ready in the morning over there, and then come back here to feed the animals because we weren't actually allowed in the house. So when they do the spray foam insulation, you have to be out of the house for 24 hours after they spray. But they had to spray in two days, so it was a big enough job that it fell over 2 days. So we had to be 2 nights out of the house. So the second day that we were out, Diva starts to yell for her breakfast at about 7:30 in the morning. We usually go out at around 8 o'clock in the morning to feed her. But we ate breakfast and got ready and then came here, and the idea was that we would be looking after the animals right before we came out to the shop to open it at 10 o'clock. So we arrived at 9 on the second morning, and Diva was over by, we have a big barn and a little barn, and Diva was over by the little barn, which means she could watch the driveway to see if we were coming out the side door of the mudroom, which is where we come out in the morning to feed her. And we could hear her as we were coming down the driveway because she was buying, because her breakfast was obviously a lot late because it was 9 o'clock and usually we go out at 8, like I said. And it was so funny because as we were coming down the driveway, you could see the moment she gave up and thought to herself, I guess they're not coming. And she literally put her little head down. She turned around and she was slowly walking away from the barn. She had given up, thought we forgot about her breakfast. So Ken stopped to park the car. He opened the door and he yelled, "Diva, Diva," for her breakfast. And it was so funny. She literally just whipped around like that and then came, and you've seen her walk before in different videos. She's got those crooked little legs, and she was just, you could just see that she was so happy. They didn't forget my breakfast. They didn't forget my breakfast. So anyway, Diva had her breakfast, and but it was just, we laughed. Well, we still are laughing about it this week because it was just so funny that the way she just whipped around, and it just was the sigh of relief that we were going to be there for her breakfast. So anyway, that was really funny. And like I said, it's been hovering around 0. So now all of the water buckets are starting to freeze. It's like and it's been so windy that the wind actually speeds up the freezing process of the buckets. So we've had to get out all of the heated buckets, and we've bedded down the barn with fresh straw because that helps to keep the animals warm in the winter. So they don't really need the straw at this point because it's not that cold, but we've got all that ready. So the morning chores have been taking quite a long time because we're getting all of the winter stuff ready, and we know it comes every year. So, and this is actually fairly late, so it's been warm, unusually warm this fall and into November, but it never seems to matter. We always are a little bit surprised when it finally freezes. So it did this week, but it's going to go up to 6 degrees Celsius again on the weekend. So we are still going to have a little bit of unseasonably warm weather. And so the furnace guy is supposed to come on Thursday. So that'll be the day before you're watching this. So hopefully we have heat. And the wood stove guy is coming to do some work on the chimney. So I think it's starting to come together. They're going to be delivering gyprock next week or on Friday, so that'll start. So we talk about it in the part with Betsy because it is getting a little bit. It's starting to get a little bit tiring with all of the chaos in the house. But like I said in the piece with Betsy, we have a house, so we're not ungrateful for that. But it's a little bit cold, and it's a little bit uncomfortable, and it's just a little bit dusty everywhere. So we're turning a corner, though. We feel it. We can feel that we're turning a corner. So I will, like I said, there's no finished objects, and I'm not even going to try to pretend that I have anything to show on my own knitting because I just didn't do anything with everything that's going on. But luckily, Jennifer Hicks has resurrected or taken her Alda sweater out of hibernation. So you may recall that Jennifer Hicks, for that works here in the shop, was knitting a sweater out of this book, the Kid Classic 4 Projects in Kid Classic. And the Alda sweater is this beautiful fisherman rib sweater, which is, you'll see a picture obviously here. So she had to frog it. She had finished the sweater and she had to frog the whole thing because it was about 3 sizes too big for her. And it really didn't fit her. She wanted like 0 ease, I would say. So not tight. She wanted it to be casual, but she didn't want it to be like a big loose fitting sweater. She wanted to be just like skimming her body. And when she finished the sweater back a few months ago, it was really, really too big, like 2 or 3 sizes too big. And I have to say, if you're going to knit with Kid Classic, I love this yarn. It just feels so squishy and beautiful, and it's a pleasure to knit with, but it does, you think you're knitting tight, but it loosens up considerably when you're knitting. So you really, really need to do a swatch, wash and block it, and really carefully measure and make sure that you have a fabric that is what you want. So Jennifer had to frog the whole sweater. She had done some cutting on the sleeves because she knew that the sleeves were going to be too big. So she had kind of messed around a bit with the sleeves. So she couldn't reuse the yarn from the sleeves, but she could reuse the yarn from the body. And I said in the segment, we just talked about it briefly with Betsy, and I said in this segment that she reconditioned the yarn, but actually she didn't. She just balled it up, and it was hibernating long enough that it's really not too kinky. So when I took it out of her project bag, I could see that she didn't actually go through the whole process of soaking the yarn and putting it in hanks and letting it dry. And it's knitting up fine. So here, and this time she's doing the front and back at the same time. So the last time she did each piece separately. So she has the front and back at the same time. So you can see here, and she's this far already. So that's actually a pretty good start on the Elda, and since it's front and back, it's both sides. So this will take her no time at all to get that going again, and it just feels gorgeous. It is so squishy and beautiful. So again, this is in Kid Classic, and this color is Mulberry, and it's just gorgeous. And this will match her Mona sweater or wrap that she finished a couple months ago. And there is a stripe of the Mulberry in that beautiful wrap that she did. So there's my cheater work in progress, because it's not my work in progress, it's Jennifer Hicks. So, but just, it's really reassuring, I think, for all of us that knit, and if you frog and then you don't finish a project, that it's always great to really go back and do it. And I'm so happy that Jennifer is doing this, because it is just going to be a gorgeous sweater and so comfy and cozy for the weather that we're having right now, actually, and into the winter. So that's going to be beautiful. The next thing I will talk about is the Scandiwork Knit Along. So Betsy is going to show you what she is going to do for the knit along in the segment with her that we'll get to in a few minutes. And I am doing somebody had told me that the J is pronounced it like a Y. So I'm going to do the Maya sweater. And you have a picture of it here. And I'm doing it in Purple Coneflower and Lady Slipper, which we talked about in the last cowl. So I was going to cast on this week, but honestly, I just worked on my cowl cardigan, and I didn't get very far, so I'm not going to bother showing the cowl cardigan, but I will show the picture again, because just when I thought everybody's seen it, somebody asked me to make sure that I showed the picture, so I will show the picture again. And I think that's all I'm going to talk about for this part. We're going to go over to the segment with Betsy. We talked for quite a long time, because there's a lot of things we get off track, quite far off track during this segment. But hopefully you'll have a few laughs with us when you see this. And we'll talk about her wallflowers, because Betsy's she's getting to the end of the wallflowers project, so it's really fantastic. And then when we come back, I'll do a shop update. What's new, Betsy?
Oh!
You said to ask you what's new. Okay, we're not gonna cut this. Hi, Betsy.
Hi, Kim.
Hi.
We're not cutting this?
The last thing she said before we started was, you have to ask me what's new. So that's what I did, and then you looked shocked.
Well, fine. You were supposed to make it sound natural.
Oh, okay. Oh. Hey, Betsy, what's new?
There we go. So
okay.
My hair.
Yes, I know.
I went ahead and chopped it all off.
Yes.
So I wear it tied back. I think I am a little back too far. I'm going to shift a little more forward.
Okay.
I feel like you're having to turn around. I wear it pulled back. I wear it pulled back into a ponytail all the time.
Right.
I did before this job, and then working in the mill, the last thing you want is to bend over a machine. Almost every machine I work on, there's turning parts.
Right.
So the last thing you want is a ponytail. So,
that's right.
And I just like my hair short.
Yes,
so
it's cute.
So it's gone.
Very cute.
Thank you.
Yeah, very cute.
That, and I learned something this week.
What?
So I'm always trying to try new vegetables, because
Okay.
Everybody says vegetables are good for you. You should eat more vegetables. Well, I
Yes.
get really bored
Right.
of vegetables. And as we move out of summer and I've eaten a lot of lettuce, I try to look for some more winter kind of vegetables. So all my life, I have hated turnip.
Oh, okay.
My mom made...
Not one of my favorites either.
She would make mashed turnip, and
Yeah.
it just, there was something about the slight sweet taste to it at the back of my throat, and the texture, even though it's really similar to butternut squash, which I love,
Yeah,
like
but not the
texture-wise.
yes.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
It can be bitter too.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just not my thing. So we went to this Lebanese restaurant that we found, and they served me pickled turnip with my meal, and it was this gorgeous pink color.
Right.
So anything pink, I love, including my food.
As it turns out.
So
Yeah.
I went home and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I can do this pickle thing. They use beets to get the beautiful pink color is what
Is
I
that what they
researched
do?
and found.
I've
Yeah.
had that. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
good.
pickled beets along with the pickled turnip.
Right.
So I went to the grocery store and I bought myself a turnip.
Yeah.
And cut it all up and ate it for a week and then went back to the grocery store the next week. Oh, I was impressed. I was like, oh, maybe I don't hate turnips so much. Maybe it just has to be pickled.
Right.
Went back, couldn't find the turnip. All I could find was this thing called a rutabaga,
Which is a turnip.
which looked exactly like a turnip, but isn't a turnip.
I don't know. Honestly, I think they're the same thing. I think technically what we call turnips is actually a rutabaga.
Rutabaga. Okay, folks, so I need you to weigh in.
Yeah, comment.
Is there a turnip and a rutabaga, or is it a turnip rutabaga?
I think the big purplish ones that
Yes.
we call turnips are rutabagas.
Okay.
And the turnips are actually little ones that are slightly bigger than a beet.
So I was probably served rutabaga growing up. That's what I have in my mind of what it looks like.
I think that's the most common. I don't know. Well, I'm not sure. Who am I to say?
I don't know. You tell us. So
yeah.
the difference being, I did not cook it. It did not mash it. I just pickled it, and that was lovely.
So how did you pickled it with?
I pickled it.
How long did it take to pickle?
Not very. So I don't know if this is cheating pickling, but
Okay.
apparently we're cooking now. So I took a jarred grocery store thing of pickled beets.
Okay.
And I took the juice out of the pickled beets,
Right.
heated it up, added some more vinegar, sugar. My husband cooks, people, so he
Yes,
told me
he
what to
does.
put in.
Yes.
Salt, sugar, I don't know what else he told me. Oh, cloves of garlic, he
Yes.
had me throw in there. Heated that all up, and then just poured it all together and let it sit in my fridge for 5 days before I went to eat it.
Okay.
And it was pickled. And
Delicious?
everything was this gorgeous color of pink.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, turnips are really popular here.
Oh, well,
Yes.
I do see them at the end of people's driveways.
I know. Yes, there's massive fields of turnips and cabbages here.
Cabbage is
I'm
also
not a fan
one.
of cabbage
No.
either, but I like coleslaw.
Oh, yeah,
But-
which is cabbage.
But
just...
boiled cabbage, not so much.
So,
yeah.
anyway, that's what's new. Rutabagas and my haircut.
Yes, you've discovered a love of rutabagas.
I have.
Yes. Okay.
Like I said, always looking for new vegetables
Yeah.
to add to
Yeah.
my repertoire.
And it's hard to really when you live in an agricultural part of the country and you have access to really good vegetables in the summer. Winter is hard.
Because it really
It's
fresh produce.
Yeah,
truly fresh produce dries up.
Yeah.
It's either shipped in or it's been stored.
Right. And it's
Which
just
they
not
do.
the same.
No.
Just not the same. You know what? I have to take my glasses off because
Okay.
they're so dirty that I can barely see.
Oh, geez.
So
Okay.
I don't know what. I must have put my hands on them.
Maybe you were back at the vat today or something.
No, look,
Splashed
there's
up.
just stuff on them, so I'm going to actually take them
Get
off.
rid of
I
them.
don't have to see anything anyway.
Okay, sounds good.
It was distracting.
All right. So, have we been knitting and crocheting at all?
No, hardly any. Hardly any. I think literally in the last 2 weeks, I've done 8 rows on my cowl cardigan.
Okay.
So I will put a picture here because people say you should, whenever you mention your sweater, you should put a picture on. But I feel like I've showed it so many times over the last year that but I will put it here.
I'm
put it
sure.
here. And the other thing that people are always asking on the comments is what we're wearing. And and we've been wearing things over and over again.
Yes.
So I don't think to mention it. So first of all, I'll start because mine is a store-bought sweater.
But it's super cute on her, isn't it?
Yeah, it's cute.
You can
I
tell
like
her
it.
how cute it is.
Yeah, it is cute. And it's slightly felted. So the fabric is like a nice kind of cushy fabric. And I cannot tell you how old it is because it's ancient.
Do you know if there's wool in it?
Oh, yeah, it's wool.
Oh,
It is
okay.
wool.
Oh, well,
yeah,
it's
it's wool,
gorgeous
100%
looking,
wool.
yeah.
And I don't know if you can see, it's got these little beads and stuff on them. And it's slightly felted. So I don't know if over the years I've felted it or if this is the way that it started out. But this is my template sweater. When I do measurements for my sweaters, this is one of the ones that I use because it's just exactly the right length that I like for most of my sweaters, depending on what the style is. So that's mine. Okay. But yours is
mine's
something.
The Stencil Hujevik, called the Sun in Setestal, I believe is what it is. And I know people.
It's yellow.
And it's golden yellow.
Yeah.
And I said I didn't like this color on me, and it is pretty darn close.
Yeah, it's very close.
However,
it is slightly different.
Slightly different. So again, just that. This just has a little more gold or orange in it.
Yeah.
And there's no additional colors. So I think the cream in here, what do they call them?
Breaks it up.
Lois or
Lice.
lice. Trying my Norwegian out.
Yes.
Anyway. And the cream just, that breaks it up, the little bit of color work on it, and then there's just pink detailing on it. And I think that's just what makes it.
It is slightly different. And the one thing about dyeing colors is that there's more than one way to get to a color sometimes. And you would call the color the same, but it's not exactly the same. The littlest little bit of a difference can make a big difference, actually, in the colors. So I think that's the case there.
I think so too. I've been learning a little bit of the dyeing process with you back there, and it's done from powders. We use the greener shade powders, and like it is super. She's sometimes got this tiny little quarter teaspoon, and she's just tapping the littlest bit of like a sprinkle of powder. Yeah. And that's can change your color. We use scales
that go down to 1/100 of a gram. That's how
much it matters. Yeah. Oh, our producer forgot to turn his phone off.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I've ever seen Ken jump so fast.
I don't think I've ever seen his face so red.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keeping it real around here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm wearing.
Great.
And this is the one, if you want to go back and search, this is the one I did some major surgery on, hacked out the neck, changed it all up.
I don't remember what episode it is, but I'll have to try and find. It was one of your first episodes that you joined me. Yeah. So I'll see if I can, if I have time to find this. So I've already said this at the beginning, but this is going to be a short episode this week because
I think she says that every week.
Yeah. Do I? Lately they've been more than an hour and a half, but honestly I just don't have the stuff to do it. So anyway.
Yeah, just a quick recap. It was supposed to be boat neck. Boat necks don't really work on me, and it was too much and it was coming up too high. So I just scoop necked it a little bit lower.
Gosh, there's his phone again. Now it's the voicemail.
I was going to say, now it sounds like he's playing Pac-Man.
Yeah,
That those Pac-Man sounds.
Now his face is purple, not just red. Oh, and now it's on airplane mode.
There we go.
A little bit like closing the barn door after the horses have gotten out.
What? Not this week, was it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, okay. I mean the phone.
But which you must have caught them, because I can see out into the field from my one of my main working stations. No, I mean caught them to put their blankets on.
Oh yes,
because I saw them with their blankets on.
We got the halter back on Purdy. I forgot that was one of the things I talked about in the last episode. So it took 4 days of persistence and you can't try to force her. So in fact, then what ended up happening is that every day I would take the bridle or the halter with me, and I would just present it to her. And on the second day, she went like that. No. And then on the third day, she went and stayed a little bit longer. And on the fourth day, she almost put it on herself.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what you have to do. It takes a lot of patience.
I have to admit, I love horses. They are gorgeous, beautiful creatures. But I did have a few unfortunate incidences when I was younger. So I am afraid.
Oh.
And horses are extremely, I would say, sensitive to your emotional state.
Yes.
And they know that.
They say that a horse can hear your heart beating from 40 meters away,
Wow.
I think, or something
and I think
like that.
I felt like my heart rate rise just now thinking about it.
Yeah, so it's true. They can sense, they can really sense, like, if you're nervous and then I think it's not I think then it makes them nervous.
Yeah, that's
why, like, oh no, my person is nervous. There must be something happening. So.
I don't think I've ever worried that they're like out to hurt me or they're like aggression. Just it is. I can tell like our nerves play off each other. So I'd love to be able to ride in one sense, but I have to get over that before that. So I love watching your horses from behind the window at my station, just wandering about.
So they actually have rain sheets on because we don't leave their blankets on all winter because they have really thick winter coats, fur. Like they both can grow a really healthy coat. But when it's just this around zero and it could be raining and then it could freeze a little bit, that's when it's actually not really pleasant for them. Right. So if it's just gently falling snow and it's below freezing, there's not really a problem. Okay. But when it can be rain and wind and then freezing temperatures after that, then it's just more pleasant for them to be able to have the...
describes our last 48 hours.
Our last...
more than that?
Yeah, 18 days. Or something like that. So anyway, it's been a lot. Yeah. It's been really windy here. Yeah. I was explaining to David, who's working on our house, that he moved here from Ontario as well. Okay. And he was saying, wow, it's really windy here, isn't it? And I said, yes, it's the third windiest province in Canada. But it actually is windier when the Northumberland Strait is open. So after it freezes over, the wind dies down. And I was listening to this on I'm not making this up. I actually heard I heard the meteorologist on the radio talking about it, is that the water is warm still, because it takes a while for the temperature of the ocean to change to winter temperatures. And the cool air masses are coming. And when the cool air masses hit the warm, like the layer of atmosphere, I guess, over the oceans, that difference in temperature creates the wind. So when the Northumberland Strait actually freezes, then the wind dies down here. Which,
I would say, because we do have like storms that blow through in January, but they're not the same. Like the wind in November feels mean. Yeah. It feels like it's out to get you.
And it's just constant.
Yeah.
It's just constant.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that it's worse because the oceans are warmer.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, right.
So for longer.
Okay.
So and I can remember last year they were talking quite a lot about the fact that usually the Northumberland Strait is frozen over by this time, and it was still open like well into January, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and people were saying, well, they could still have the ferry, ferry going. But now the ferry's not going almost every day because it's windy in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess if they put like one of those, you'd have to have like an ice, because even when we say like, it takes, like, it doesn't just instantly freeze. It goes from the, it's from the shoreline out, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so you'd have to have anyway, they're not going to do that.
When it was only ferries that could go across, then they had, when there was no bridge, they had to have a ferry. I'm pretty sure one of them was an icebreaker.
Like an icebreaker. Yeah. Okay.
So I was just going to, I don't know if I should tell this story or not, but...
Go for it. You can always edit it out later.
You heard about the deer that swam over?
No.
Oh.
I did not.
So we have no deer on PEI.
No, we do not. No. And actually, before she gets into the story, as an Ontario driver, dawn and dusk, not having deer is really nice.
It's a relief.
Yeah.
Well, there was a deer.
Oh.
On
a deer.
Princess. He swam over. So it's a 14-kilometer stretch is the closest point between PEI and New Brunswick.
Okay.
The landmass. He swam over. And right around the truck stop, before you get to the bridge, some truck hit him. It's terrible. It's terrible. I was heartbroken. I know. It's terrible. There was pictures.
He was probably so tired.
I know.
And
a truck hit him.
Oh my gosh.
So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, dear, take that as a note. Don't come to
tell your friends. Yeah. I don't think he hit. Anyways,
that's a long stretch.
Yeah.
Which we are totally off topic today.
Especially when they don't. I mean, they've got little pointy little
hooves.
Hooves. That
Yeah.
can't be easy.
That's a long go. I mean, I know moose swim lakes and stuff all the time, but that's a long stretch.
That's a long stretch. The
Yeah,
poor
if you've
thing.
ever driven that bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The poor thing got here all the way over here, and a transport truck hit him.
Oh my goodness. Okay. How much time have we completely...
It's not, and we're not laughing
Okay,
about that.
no,
it's terrible.
no, that is-
But
yeah.
I was just like,
Yeah.
he had a shitty day.
Yeah. And then,
He just got there, and
I wonder if he got disoriented in the water and just kind of like...
well,
I don't know.
You know, the other thing is that no truck driver on PEI was watching
No.
out for a deer because they don't. There are no deer here.
Because let me tell you, they're watching for moose when you go through New Brunswick.
Yes.
When you go behind those transport trucks, especially if it's nighttime, which we've driven a few times. So anyway,
poor
roads,
deer.
deer, moose.
Yeah,
Okay.
the poor deer.
So
now I guess we should talk about
some knitting.
some knitting. Yes.
Or crochet.
So I'm going to show. I will. I don't know if I'll have showed it already or if I'll show it after. But Jennifer Hicks has been working on her Elda sweater.
Oh, she pulled it out again.
Yes, and I will show a picture when I talk about it. So she's she had to frog the whole thing. She reconditioned the yarn, and now she's knitting it again.
Okay. Can I ask how? Like, what did she do to recondition?
No, you just you put it in like a skein, like in a hank,
Yep.
a loop, and then you just soak it like you're going to, and then you let it dry.
Okay.
And then all the crinkly parts all just
Fall out. Okay.
Yeah, it's like
Nice.
blocking it.
Right.
Again, yeah.
Okay.
So she's knitting that, which I will show you. And but what do you want to talk about first? Your wallflowers?
Sure, we can chat about
Okay.
wallflower. So you've kind of been in and out of your house this week, which you may have shared earlier.
Yeah.
Just in your update there. So you haven't done a whole lot on yours, right?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
It's freezing in my house.
That also makes it hard to crochet.
I feel-
So it's basically the same as I showed you last time,
Except
that it has
These
what
big,
are
long-
called the corner pieces. We'll try and hold it up.
I don't know
here.
if we can get the right orientation. Let me see.
Not with the two of it's getting big.
Yes, it's very big actually. So
Yeah.
you
So
can't-
these are sort of, I think, like the final corner pieces, other than they'll get one round, I think, of some popcorns or puffs or something on the outside, and then they'll get an actual like whole crocheted trim to
Okay.
this whole thing.
So then when you get to that point, you're actually crocheting all the way around.
I believe so. I believe so. There is a section called a trim, which I would assume is all the way around. I don't think there's
Border,
a
like a
lot
border.
of it. Yeah, border. Yes,
Yes,
that's
okay.
the word I'm looking for.
But it's not bits and pieces. It's actually a
No,
whole
I
thing.
think it's a border. But before that, so all this empty space you see is going to get filled with...
Now she's got 2 bags now.
I have 2 bags of pieces.
Yeah.
With little bits and pieces.
Right.
So mainly those 2, I think, actually. Yeah, because that's the only 2 styles I have left that I'm making.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
it. And you told me before we started, how many pieces do you have
I
left?
believe so. I quick did 2 while you were in getting
Right.
ready. So I think I'm down to the last 15 of these.
Wow.
Then I will have all of my pieces made.
Right.
And then I need to focus on getting it in. And I
Right.
have set a goal. I would like to finish it before the year is out. That's my goal.
Okay. So by December 31st.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was even thinking kind of Christmas, but
Okay.
So we'll see. In any of the others where we're inserting these pieces, it's gone pretty smooth.
Yeah, these are pretty fast to do actually. Yeah.
Putting these big ones in,
Yes.
not so much. This
No.
took me a while.
Right.
to get
And did you
these.
have problems figuring out exactly how the orientation went?
Yes.
Okay.
Ton of problems
It's a
with
little
that.
bit tricky, eh?
It was a bit tricky. So she had us attach 2 of them together.
Okay.
Attach the one, I think, in them. Anyway, it wasn't working for me. So I just sort of went with what made sense to me. And I know they're attached properly, like in the right spot and stuff.
Okay.
I just didn't use the same method that she used. And I think she actually mentions that in the video as well, saying you could do it this way or you could do
she's
one
good
at a
about
time.
giving choices.
Yes.
If you,
Yeah.
So then these will go
somewhere
around, filling here.
filling it in. So mine is basically down to gray.
Wow.
And we were also talking about, I am finding that I think I'm going to have a little bit of leftover yarn, like some actual full balls that I won't even have started.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's because I knit tighter.
Crochet.
Or crochet.
Yeah, and you're
Crochet.
she's using the 3.75 millimeter
am.
crochet hook, which is the one recommended.
Yep. Yeah.
But I think
also,
your things are a little bit smaller than mine.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And I think I go right down to the last bit. So it might be that she got down to like the last yard or 4 and thought she doesn't want people to run short. So suggested amounts might have gone to a next. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, usually pattern designers leave about a 10% leeway because the last thing, in this case, it wouldn't matter because you could just reorder the color and you wouldn't have to worry about dye lots or anything. But nice.
So so I'm loving the colors.
And you've put in most of your ends too.
On the back, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been, you don't have that work to do.
No, it'll just be around, I think I haven't done any since this round went in. I haven't tied any in. Yeah. But I work a lot of mine in as I go.
Do you?
I really do.
I tried that at first when I was doing my, when you do the little circle in the middle and then I was doing that, but then it made my things too big.
Okay, it was changing the shape
of your... It was changing the size of the, it's hard to believe that little bit
does.
It does. Yeah. So I stopped doing that. So I just when I can fit my hands out of, from underneath my wool blanket, then I do them. The furnace guy was supposed to be here today, but then he had to cancel and he moved it to tomorrow, and then he had to cancel and then he moved it till Thursday. So we still don't have heat in the house.
And we had our first snowfall.
Yeah, a little skiff, as we say.
Oh, a skiff.
A skiff.
Oh, we have a skiff of snow. Okay.
Is that a maritime word?
Yep.
Oh,
I think so.
All right.
Not what I've ever heard.
I
have heard a dusting.
No, skiff.
What else? Yeah, a dusting of snow. Yeah, no, not a skiff of snow. What is a skiff? What is a skiff?
Just a skiff.
Oh.
Just a little, just enough to slip on.
I was going to say we had to drive careful because it was slippy out there.
Slippy.
Isn't that your other one?
Yeah,
slippy.
Slippy.
So that's
slippy
the crochet.
With the skiff of snow makes it slippy.
And we'll just pack this over here. So I was mainly focused on that. Yes. I kind of got driven to finishing up all those pieces.
Okay. And are you going to enlighten people about what you're going to do for your Kristen Drysdale Knit Along?
Yeah, someone basically figured it out already.
I know.
That's okay. So I am doing the Lady Cordelia, which you mentioned, I think, comes from the Anne of Green Gables story, which is a very important story on this island.
Yes.
And I have never read.
I just read it.
Okay.
Much
pressure off.
I hadn't read it, and I didn't really know. I watched the 1980s episodes, and there is actually available on, I think it's called Kindred Spirits Publishing. Oh. So a cousin of Lucy Maud Montgomery actually, so the house that inspired and the Green Gables house was actually her aunt and uncle's house. Lucy Maud Montgomery's aunt and uncle house, and they were the Campbells. Their last name is Campbell.
There you
go. She would spend summers at that house. And they're the ones that had the bookcase, and she saw her reflection. The imaginary friends were in the bookcase. There's some things. It's a little museum now, but it's not the National Park Museum. It's actually the aunt and uncle's house. So the aunt and uncle, she called them her aunt and uncle, but they were actually cousins. Oh, it's a little bit confusing.
Okay.
So now I don't know if it's the kids or the grandkids of those people. I think it would be the grandkids. I think
time's getting on.
And yes, and they still own the house.
Oh, wow.
So they made a little museum, and there is actually like personal artifacts in there from Lucy Maud Montgomery. And things that she wrote about in the book are actually from this house.
Very neat.
So they have, like I said, they have a little museum. I'm taking Arne and Carlos there.
Oh, are you now?
They're very excited.
That's
and
exciting,
George or Pam, who are the cousins, one of them is going to be giving them a little tour.
Now, is this like an exclusive private thing, or is this something as a public
they're
person
closed.
you could
They're
book?
closed now for the season.
We should clarify
that. I said I had some very prestigious guests coming, so they said, sure.
Nice.
Yes. And where are you from? Not from around here, but
sort of.
We got all the geography all done.
Figured out.
Anyway, so it's going to be really fun. So I thought that I was talking about Kindred Spirits Publishing because George Campbell owns that, and he published a reproduction of the original, I think it's 1908 book of Anne of Green Gables. So when it was first published, it's got the same color cover, like a cloth, it's a hard cover, has the same illustration on the front that the original book had. And so it's just like a reprint of the book from 1908.
Can you get them still?
Yes,
like, are they,
you can get. That's why I'm telling you.
Oh,
You can check it out.
Yeah.
Kindred Spirits Publishing, and if it's not that, then I'll put it down here under the title. But I think, and there's an Anne of Green Gables store downtown.
Okay.
And you can buy them there. And George has signed the copies in the store.
Okay.
So
pretty fantastic.
Yeah. So that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do.
If you don't know anything about the Anne of Green Gables story, it's a story that takes place here on the island that Lucy Maud wrote. It's about a young orphan girl, and it's a cute story.
Yes.
It really is. I know most of the story from the movies. I haven't actually read the books. I do want to say I found on Netflix you will find a series, something called Anne of Green Gables. That is not Lucy Maud Montgomery's Anne of Green Gables.
No.
It is very loosely based.
Anne with an E is not
those stories. Yeah.
Not the,
so,
I mean, I get it. You want to make a message about blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I think the producer of that series actually was the producer of Breaking Bad.
Oh,
by Netflix.
Not really
and she
connected.
She did the treatment on what it was really like to be an orphan in 1908. But you know what?
I'm not so sure it was though. Anyway, we could get into a long debate about
Yes, there's a big debate about the whole thing.
But I just want to direct you. If you go to Netflix and you think, "Oh, I found Anne of Green Gables," that's not it.
Yeah, that's not it.
Yeah, if you want to watch it, the best version is with Megan Follows.
That's right.
Yeah.
it was 1983 or
Something
87, I think, that it was
Yeah.
made, and it's very true to the to the book. And so the book, I actually didn't really know where the Lady Cordelia came from, but it was an imaginary friend, sort of, that Anne of Green Gables had, and she fancied herself that would be an exquisite and romantically beautiful name to have instead of being just Anne.
Well, in the movies, I know that, so I think the way they must worked it in then is she wants to be called Cordelia,
yes,
right?
That's right.
Yeah, so she tries to introduce herself to Cordelia, and of course they turn her down. Marilla's very practical.
Yes, Anne is a perfectly good name.
So all she gets away with is whenever she has people spell her name, she has them spell it with an E.
Yeah.
So Anne with an E.
She's very particular that it has an E because it makes it more important.
Doesn't want to be too plain. Yeah. So all that, I am going to knit the Lady Cordelia.
So Kristen Drysdale, when she was coming to the Fiber Festival, created a pattern called the Lady Cordelia cardigan.
Yeah.
Which we talked about, I think, at the other, and she knit that in a week. We talked about it last.
Yeah, I am not knitting it in a week.
No, it was amazing. She did a whole Instagram thing, but I talked about it in the last podcast. So
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it was a tour de force.
Yeah,
she was. Yeah,
I think my hands would give out, but good on her.
So she did a very high contrast.
Yes,
with natural flowers and the trillium green that you would have seen in the picture. You've decided to go
super low contrast.
Right.
So I'm going to do the Mayflower purple that we have and the pearl, which is basically the lightest version of purple we have and the lightest version of gray or silver. It's almost a silver. I really like it. It's a really beautiful color. So I'm hoping it will be enough that we can still see. So the flowers will be in the purple.
Okay.
And the rest of it will be in the gray. And then it has the gray trim on the button band and around the cuffs. And for me, this will be the first time I'm doing a cardigan. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
But I think she still has us knit it all the way in the round and then steek it up.
Yeah.
So, which I'm not afraid of steeking.
No, you cut everything.
You know. Everything.
You see that you're inspiring people to cut their stuff. Did you see that comment?
I did not,
no.
no.
Okay, so there's a comment on the podcast that somebody made a giant schlanket, I think, and realized that they either didn't like the way that you joined a piece to it, or they did it incorrectly. So they just said, thanks to Betsy, I felt motivated. I just took the scissors and I think they cut the whole thing apart and then turned around the orientation and then finished.
Okay.
I finished it. So good.
I do read all the comments. I don't know how I missed that one.
I think it's just one just the other day.
Oh, okay.
Came on
I
just
haven't
the
been
other day.
on in a couple days now. But
So
yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Totally. You
All
can
right.
totally do it. Okay.
So-
So this is going to be lovely.
I think so. I think it's going to be
Yeah.
gorgeous. I really wanted to cast it on to start this. November is not my favoritist. Is that a word? It's not my favoritist.
No. Not your most favorite?
Yes, that's what I'm looking for. It's just, it can be a tough month because it's no longer beautiful fall and it's not quite, I hold off on all the Christmas stuff till December because I don't want to wear out Christmas.
Yeah.
So November is kind of just this month to get through.
Yeah.
So I just wasn't feeling the cast on. And if I'm not feeling the cast on, that tends to kind of like color the whole project.
Right.
So I'll get there, it'll come, but I just haven't done it quite yet.
Yes. I haven't started mine either. And I had all the yarn. It's sitting there. It's beautiful. And it's just, I just didn't feel it either.
Yeah.
Like it's really, people are going to think, well, you never feel it. But
No.
honestly,
No.
it's, Ken and I were talking the other day is that, like we're pretty good troopers about this whole renovation thing, but now it's getting a little bit, it's a little tiny bit stressful.
I cannot imagine. So I am very much, when I feel creative and I want to create, I need my space in a certain semblance of order.
Yeah.
Like if the kitchen is messy and I want to knit, I will sit there knitting, thinking about the kitchen, thinking about the kitchen. So I have to go clean up the kitchen if I'm going to enjoy my knitting.
Right.
So you're living in this...
It's chaos.
Yeah, I feel for you.
Yeah. So, and we're, like we made jokes about the wood tent and everything, and we did get the insulation. I should say that we did get the insulation. The insulation guys came when they said they were going to come. And the furnace guy, so we booked the insulation and the furnace in August.
Right.
So, or started talking to them and they couldn't confirm an appointment. The insulation people did confirm an appointment. So they showed up exactly when they were supposed to. The furnace guy didn't give a date. And of course he called the week and a half before the insulation guy and said, I want to come on this date. And they couldn't be in the house at the same time. So he did try to come. Yeah. But it just didn't work.
Just bungled. So you don't have the wind blowing right through your house anymore.
No, we don't.
But there's no source of heat. It's cold.
Yeah, so it's and on the side that we're living on, still has just all the old insulation, which was not effective anyway, which is why we're doing all of this. And so the side with the heat from the wood stove is actually just boards and insulation. And the side with all our stuff has no heat.
And you don't want to be trekking your furniture because they're going to have to start putting walls and stuff back in eventually. So you can't be moving furniture.
It's going to start this Friday, I think. Yeah. So
Yay.
That's going to start and it's going to make us feel better. But it's now, like people have written comments about this since I started talking about the renovation. And it's the dust. It's the dust. It's over everything. There's like a fine dust. And you know what? At some point you just give up. Like you just...
I just can't take it anymore.
Yeah, and so anyway, I don't really want to complain because I'm not we were. It's just this was a bad week.
Yeah,
and it was windy. We weren't sleeping well because the wind was blowing. The one thing is on the insulated side with the foam insulation, you can't hear anything. So it is going to be
a sound blocker too.
So it's a sound blocker. Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
we know it's going to be lovely.
Yeah,
we are thankful that we have a house.
Yes,
even if it's cold, but. It's and we're not really suffering, but at the same time, it's just starting to get a little disruptive.
Yes,
it's disruptive. That's what I would say.
I understand.
And anybody that's gone through a big renovation, I know that you've all gone through that the same as what we're going through. But the temperatures -3 are adding just a little extra. It's just a little extra. Yeah.
So hopefully things will progress a little bit this week.
Yeah.
And
you know it might be cold when your cat, who's a barn cat technically, that lives outside, actually leaves the living room where you're sitting and goes and sleeps in front of the fireplace, in the front of the stove. And she goes there. She disappears and we don't know where she is. And then we go and look and she's curled up on the floor in front of the... Wow, okay.
She says, why don't you guys come where it's warm?
She literally lived in the barn for 5 years.
I know.
Oh, that's enough of that.
Good old Clyde. She's a sweetie.
Yeah. So that's enough of that.
That's what I've got going on. That's yeah. I do have another project, but we'll leave it for another time, and we'll catch up.
What is it?
Oh, right. She's curious.
Yeah, no, because I can see yarn, green yarn.
So I have to launch into a whole other story if we go into this.
Okay. I have nothing.
So
I have nothing for this.
So this year, no, not this year, next year, which is 2023, PEI is hosting the Canada Games. I think this is really exciting.
Yeah. Wait a sec. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but where's your cake?
My cake? Oh, I didn't bother to bring it.
Oh, okay. You haven't worked on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I have, but it's all I worked on was blue. Okay. So the blue expanded.
So the cake is a shawl that Betsy's designing on her own, like knitting as she goes, and she's using cotton candy and Ferris wheel. So it looks like a birthday cake. So we call it the cake.
I call it cake. And I'm going to wear it. I'm designing it specifically to wear with my Cow's Ice Creamery hoodie. So ice cream and cake.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So the Canada Games are happening here on the island, which kind of boggles my mind because it's so small, but we're participating. We're part of Canada too. We get to be part of it too. So and they have hosted in the past. So this is not the first time that they have hosted. So I think this is pretty cool. My husband, who's a teacher, they're actually closing the schools during the 2 weeks that it's happening, mainly to allow the kids the opportunity to attend, as well as they need volunteers to run this thing. So they would like upwards of 5,000 volunteers. That would make it like wonderful. I don't think they've quite reached that goal. So if you're from PEI and you didn't know and you've got a couple of spare weeks in February, August, they'd love to have you.
February, August.
I mean...
Say, how long do these Canada Games go?
February, March. It's a crossover from the end of February to March.
Okay. So it's the Winter Games.
Yeah, Winter Games.
Okay.
Yeah. So all of that to say, my husband is a teacher, so he's going to volunteer doing these. So they are providing a few little like bits and pieces for the volunteers. I think they have like hats and jackets or something. But he came to me and he said they don't give us mittens.
Oh.
So he's sitting down with my iPad and says to me, how do I get a grid thing on here? Okay, so I showed him how to get a grid, and all of a sudden I caught on what he's doing. He's coloring in little individual squares on this grid,
making
and he's
a pattern,
creating a knitting chart.
Okay,
for these mittens.
Go, Matt, go!
I know, impressed me. So he chose his colors. These kind of match what they're doing.
This is Linden Blossom.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite colors that we make.
It's
really beautiful.
Cute. Oh,
it's
actually,
fresh
no.
green.
This one I think is Sprout. Actually.
Oh, Sprout. Okay, that's the other one. Two of them are quite
They're
close.
really similar.
This one, Sprout, doesn't have. Linden Blossom is just a little bit more yellow.
Yes, I was going to say a little more, just brighter almost.
Yeah.
But we found. I tried that one. No, I didn't. I didn't try that. We stuck with this one. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm getting lost.
And this is A Night Without Stars.
A Night Without Stars. So that's the combination he's doing. He's
beautiful.
Chosen.
This is a great combination.
And then he's having these little. He's going to have me put in lice.
Okay.
On the
natural.
the upper fingers. So the palm will be his chart that he created, which I didn't bring with me, but you'll see it eventually. He's made like the logo. He came up with their logo in a knit chart. I'm blown away, people.
Wow.
I'm impressed. He does not knit. He doesn't know anything about knitting other than watching me. He is a very observant person. Right. And this is showing me how observant.
Okay.
So this is the pair of mitts. And then I came in and I was going to buy a set of double pointed needles, the size to do it. And I got home and realized I bought the exact same pair I already owned. So you could bring them back. I do work at the store. I show up here. It would be, Kim does accept a return of that sort in, pristine condition. But I thought, I'll knit them two at a time my own way.
Okay, all right.
Part of that being, because we're making this pattern up a little bit as we go, I want it the same. And I always run the risk. If I would finish one, inevitably, I would forget what I did.
Yeah.
So these are the cuffs.
Right.
We have that. And they are narrow, yes, but he wants them tight around his wrists. So we're at the point now, we're just about to start into the palm part and a thumb gusset. Okay. We're putting a thumb gusset.
And are you using a pattern out of the Saltwater Mitten books?
I am. For reference, I'm using one of the patterns out of the ladies that wrote Saltwater Mittens. Yeah. That one. It's the one pair in there that they list as a men's mitten, and they have a trigger finger on it. We're not going to do the trigger finger. He wants it just straight up.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful.
So it's worsted weight.
Yeah.
And I've put it on 3.5, or is it 3 millimeter? It might just be 3 millimeter. Oh, wow. This is where I don't need glasses. I truly don't. But that's 3 millimeter.
Oh, okay. 3 mil. Okay.
Which makes a nice, dense fabric out of our worsted.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Beautiful, beautiful.
So there they are.
This is a great combination.
So pretty.
Yeah.
I am loving
very
it.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
So there we are.
All right, Matt.
So we'll see how that progresses. We're just about to get into the part where I'm a little unsure. I've only made one pair of mittens, and it's the pattern we sell the kit for, the Trondheim mitten.
Right.
So I'm a little nervous about the thumb gusset because I just haven't really done it very often.
You'll be fine. I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I lent Betsy my saltwater mitten book, but I didn't remember that I lent it to her, and it was missing. And I went through the mill and the shop like a mad woman 2 days ago.
We have to mention it's signed too.
Yes,
it's a signed copy.
Me, and I thought that it got sold in the store by mistake, and I was freaking out, and I went on and on and on about, I don't know why anybody, as soon as they would have seen that it was signed to me, that why would they keep it? They should have called me. And I went a big thing, and Betsy wasn't here.
No, I was back in the mill, just making yarn. Making yarn.
And then she actually got to drive with Jennifer Hicks, and Jennifer said, "Oh, Kim was really upset about the fact that somebody sold the saltwater mitten book that was signed to her by Christine and Shirley." And Betsy said, "I have it."
I whipped out my phone. I'm like, I got to relieve her of this stress immediately.
Yeah, I lent it to her, and I completely forgot.
Yeah, so you need to make a sign out, I think, on your library.
Because because I have a big book library of my personal knitting books. Like it's big, and people, people that are friends and people that come and knit here and stuff like that have borrowed books from time to time. Certainly people that work here can borrow them, and but I never keep track, and then I get upset because I think something happened to it. And
I assured her I even keep it in a Ziploc bag because I don't want to spill anything on it.
Which is not necessary.
But I do because it's a nice book and I want to keep it nice.
That's not necessary. And then I felt bad because I kind of I was a bit of a maniac. I kind of was making a big rant about it.
Well, I was totally oblivious to it.
Yes.
I didn't know
And that follows on the heels that when Christine and Shirley were here, that they actually signed the saltwater sock book to me.
Okay.
And in all of the hubbub of the day that with the Fiona and everybody was here and everything, my copy of that book actually got sold as well too. Yeah, it did for sure, because it's not. It is.
Well, if you're watching it and you have a book signed to Kim and you want to send it back, she'll happily exchange it for you
for another signed copy.
I have a signed copy. Not signed to
but
Kim.
But we better hurry up because we're almost sold out, and apparently they had to go to a second printing already.
Fabulous for them.
So it's really,
congratulations,
really great.
ladies.
So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So Cheryl the Pearl wrote a little note to me the other day, and she said that they actually had to go to a second printing. So it's fantastic.
That is
that's weeks.
That's good. Yeah.
Like within weeks.
That's good for them.
So it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's it, I think.
Yeah, that's about it. We're just going to keep going forward. Oh, we got the Arne and Carlos coming up.
Oh, yes. Yeah. How could we forget? Yeah. They're going to be here in a week from today. So we're recording this on Tuesday.
Yes.
The 22nd. And they're going to be here on the 29th.
Oh, wow.
To sit and knit a bit.
I think they're having Thanksgiving in New Jersey with friends.
Yeah.
I have been following.
Watching them.
I have been.
Yeah.
I thought if they're coming, well, I watch them pretty regularly anyway.
Apparently they're buying up a storm.
Oh, they like that, and I think they're being gifted.
Yes,
all kinds of things. So a ridiculous number of boxes. I didn't even know this existed. A golden cake mix that actually has like Dolly Parton.
Oh, okay.
A caricature of Dolly Parton on the package.
I've never heard of it.
They're going to go home and eat golden cake mix.
Okay. Great.
So be sure to not serve them golden cake while they're here.
Yeah, I'll try to resist. So have a good 2 weeks. Well, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Betsy. All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye. Well, so we kind of went through the whole gamut there, from deer to poor deer, from deer to everything. We talked under the sun, and the sun set us all maybe, and we had a great conversation. We were really laughing pretty hard. So now I'm going to do a shop update, which is really, I have to tell you that as you know, I do a newsletter every Friday, and I always feature the new things in the newsletter on Fridays to the newsletter people first. And I sold out of everything that I showed in the newsletter last week. So I don't have anything to show you that's really new, other than some books that I got and one little special thing that I have to celebrate Arne and Carlos coming. But if good motivation to sign up for the newsletter if you want to know some things. And I'm not gonna make you feel bad if you didn't see the newsletter, because the stuff that was in the newsletter is all sold out. We will reorder and try to get some of the things back in stock. So for the shop update, there are 3 new books that I got in the shop from Kim Hargreaves. So if anybody doesn't know, Kim Hargreaves is a really well-known designer that designed for Rowan Yarns, and she's also done books that she's published on her own, but they're still using Rowan Yarns. So Kim has decided to take a break from designing, and she had some projects that were in progress to be released, but she's decided to release the last 3 books all at once. So I just have them here, and we have them in, and there's 2 of them which are the numbered editions that Rowan publishes, or I'm not sure if it's Kim herself that publishes them and Rowan just distributes them, or what the case is. But the first one is Divine. So, the first one is Fall, and this is number 14 of Kim's book, and it's called Fall. So we have that one in stock. Then the edition number 15 is called Divine, and we just received that. So if you're a collector of Kim's books and you need these last 2 editions to complete your collection, we do have them in stock. And I have some of the older books as well, so you can check if you just search for Kim Hargreaves on our website. You'll see the books that I carry. I carry quite a few of her books, and then she's got this beautiful last edition, which has 21 knitwear designs, and it's called Adore, and we have that here as well. And I was going to do a slideshow for this, but honestly, I don't have time to produce the slideshow. So I mentioned before that Rowan certainly supplies us with all of the pictures to do the slideshow, but they don't actually do the slideshow. I have to put them together. And I don't have time to do this this week, but I will do it for the next podcast, because I think that this is a beautiful full book, and it has a lot of different designs. It really goes the gamut to something quite fitted. There's a couple designs that have these little peplums on it. I don't know if you can see that in the picture. I hope so. The woman that's standing, her little sweater has a little ruffle peplum on the bottom, and it goes all the way to like really kind of chunky knits as well. So I will do a slideshow for that in the next episode. And I restocked on Cable Knits from Nordic Lands. So this is a book that I have been carrying for quite a while, but it was not available for a little while, and I did get some copies of this book back in stock. So if you're looking for that, you can find that in the shop. And I brought in 3 books from Line of Publishing, And I just bought in one copy for my own library. And if you'd like me to order the book and carry it, I will be happy to do that. Just write in the comments that you'd be interested that I would carry it. There's no obligation to buy it if you're interested, but I just wasn't sure how many people would be interested in these books. So they're all beautiful. So the first one is the Traditions Revisited, which is modern Estonian knits. So this book, I've seen quite a lot of press about this book. So I have one copy for my library, but I am able to order it. So if you would like me to carry this book as a regular edition in my store, then just let me know, and I'll be happy to bring it in for you. And it's a really, really beautiful book, like all the Lina books are, and it goes through the different techniques that are common in Estonian knitting, and it actually tells you a little bit about how the traditions evolved and so forth. And there's a couple of different really nice different techniques that you'll find in this book. So that's Traditions Revisited, Modern Estonian Knits. Okay. The next book is Salt and Timber. So somebody wrote to me and asked if I would be carrying this book. And honestly, I hadn't really looked into this book that much, but I did buy one edition for the store once more. Again, a beautiful Lina book. And so this is knits from the northern coast. So when they're talking about the northern coast, it's actually the Pacific Northwest of the US. So they're nice and warm knits, so thicker yarns. And the book is also lovely, and there's some really nice patterns for sweaters and accessories, all kind of like cozy kind of knits that are perfect for the damp weather that you have on the coast. So if you would like me to carry that book, you can just pop a comment in the comments below below the video, and I will consider bringing that in. And the last book, I kind of got tricked a little bit because I thought I had missed one of the Lina books, and I saw this from one of my suppliers, and it is 52 Weeks of Scarves. So the tricky part is that it's a soft cover version of the 52 Weeks of Shawls, and it's not new patterns at all. However, if you did want to buy the 52 Weeks of Shawls and you just didn't want a big hardcover book, the 52 Weeks of Scarves is the exact same book except in soft cover. So it's also, the price is a little bit more attainable for people if you didn't want to make the investment of the full hardcover book. It is more expensive, so this is a little bit more economical to purchase. And I've looked through it; it's exactly the same. The printing and everything is exactly the same inside. It just has a soft cover instead of a hardcover and a different name, which was, like I said, a little bit tricky. So I have these if you want them. Soft cover. So 52 Weeks of Scarf. And since next week is the week, it's actually Tuesday, so you're watching this on a Friday. So the next Tuesday is when Arne and Carlos start. So they arrive, and on the 29th of November, it will be the evening from 7 till 9 will be Sit and Knit a Bit live. And that kicks off the event. And then we have 2 days of workshops, morning and afternoon after that, on the 30th of November and December 1st. There are just a few tickets left, and by a few, for the Sit and Knit a Bit, I added seats. So there's a few seats left, and there is 12 tickets left, I think. And there is 3 tickets to the Stranded Colorwork, and there are 12 tickets for the Primrose Crochet. So I talked about this in the last podcast. For the crochet, It is a beginner crochet class. So if you don't know how to crochet and you would like to be taught by Arne and Carlos how to crochet, there is no prerequisite that you have to learn how to knit or purl or anything. Or crochet singles or whatever. They're going to teach you. So you can come if you're an absolute newbie on for the Primrose crochet. The other classes are all sold out, and I have a waiting list. So, but now people are not, most people are coming at this point. So I'm not anticipating a big flood of being able to fill the waiting list for the Norwegian Knit and Purl or the Layered Colorwork class. And there is a limit on the amount. I have more space, but Arne and Carlos have put a limit of 30 people just to be fair to everybody that is attending, so that they can have the right amount of attention that they would need during the class. So there is a limit. If I have names, so if there is a cancellation, I will let you know. But if not, those two classes, the Layered Colorwork class and the Knit and Purl the Norwegian way, have been completely sold out. But in honor of Arne and Carlos coming, of course, people that are followers of Arne and Carlos know that they design yarns for Regia. And I do not carry Regia Sock yarn, because the only brand of commercial yarns that I carry is Rowan, and Regia is not Rowan, but they are distributed by the same company in North America. So I have access to the Regia Sock yarns, and I have brought in 5 of the most popular colors of the Luftfoten collection. It's not their latest collection, but when I looked at these colors, I thought that I liked them better. So they're a self-striping sock yarn, and you can see the colors that I brought in. And you're going to think that the 2 purples and the 2 reds are the same, but they're not. These are 5 different colors, and they're the most popular sock colors. And I will try to find pictures of the socks when they're knitted up, so that you can see what the pattern looks like. So the first one is red, but it has like this greenish yellow. So they're self-striping, like I said. It'll have a greenish yellow pop of color in it. And the other red is darker. The other red has a pop of pink and a lighter color bluish purple in it. And like I said, hopefully I can find pictures, good pictures, that I can show you what the stripes look like. In the and I have one that's blue. So there's a blue striped one with little mauves and pinks and so forth. And I have 2 purples. One is more of a burgundy fuchsia purple with green, and the other one is really like a purple, grapey purple with a seafoamy color. So that's that one. So I just have these 5 colors. I have a limited amount because, like I said, it's to celebrate Arne and Carlos coming. We'll see how it goes. I'm not really opposed to carrying them. If people really want to have these yarns, I may consider bringing them in, but right now I have some inventory, and you can check it out on our website if you think you might be interested. And you can get a pair of socks out of 1 ball of these yarns. So we'll have those. There are a lot of other colors that are available, but I just bought what I asked what the most popular, the 5 most popular colors were, and these were the ones that I brought in. So that's Arne and Carlos. I can hardly wait. It's really, really close, and I hope we have a great event. And like I said, if you think that you want to come to the Sit and Knit a Bit live on November 29th from 7 till 9, you can sign up for that for the last 12 seats that we have. And then there's the 2 classes that are still available. And I think that's all that I have for you this week. So we're going to go to the harmony part. I'm going to try to find some music that makes me feel warm. But hopefully by the time I'm watching this on the 25th, because that's what Ken and I do on Friday nights, as we've always watched the podcast, and hopefully I am sitting on my sofa with a beautiful warm heat in the house, and I wish you a nice, may your hearts be warm in the next 2 weeks, and enjoy the harmony part. So we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye.
Why